and someone eventually wants to give me the clap. Over to you.
Hi, and welcome to Swords, Boards and Beards with Overseer Adam, Super Mutant Adam, and Paladin Jace.
Yeah, that works for me.
And today we're talking about female custodies. No, I'm joking. There's enough of that going around. No, today we're going to be talking about post-apocalyptic drama in the Wasteland. Sorry, Jace didn't know I was going to do that.
I've just been fired.
We're talking about Fallout as a franchise, as something that has widely become a lot more popular recently. Just a quick fact to start off with. Bethesda reported that sales of Fallout 4 since the television show have come out has jumped up by 7,500%.
Wow, and it's a game that came out in 2015?
Something like that.
Yeah. So, for context, it's because we were all inspired by the show in terms of watching the show as the reason to chew the cud about it and more nusses.
I finished the Amazon show this week. I know you've not.
Two off.
Adam. Yeah.
No spoilers.
One episode.
I've watched
so
the
far.
first episode.
So it's going to be difficult not to go, oh, do you remember this bit? And
no spoilers.
We don't want to spoil it for Jace.
Well, and also for those that are listening, we're not just going to talk about the show, but also the franchise. So if you want to go away and play thousands of hours of games and then come back and listen, we'll see you in 2030.
Yeah.
Like that.
When the bombs have dropped. You're in the boat.
Yeah, by then Mr. Handy will be a real thing.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So, Overseer Adam, why Fallout?
So it's a franchise that I played and got into a long time ago. I remember very vividly living with my mum back in Hastings and having my old tower computer with a big thick cathode monitors and playing Fallout 1 and 2 on, before Steam when they came on discs and stuff like that, or became on floppy disks.
Floppy disks, yeah.
So I've known the franchise for ages, and it was kind of one of those things like Fallout 76 came along, wasn't really interested. It's sort of like, okay, it's going downhill, it's dying a bit of a death thing. I know they've worked a hell of a lot with 76, and they've made it a lot more of a palatable game. Like from what I've heard, it's really good now and stuff. Obviously, it wasn't for me at the time, and there's enough out there in the game sphere to go back and play other stuff rather than go back to something that. I foolishly pre-ordered Fallout 76.
Of course you did.
Massive.
Oh no, I day one purchased the nicest version we could buy. I think Toby and I, my son and I, went halvesies on it because neither of us were quite convinced. And then I literally played it for 10 minutes. And I went, yes, of this.
My buddy Gavin bought the edition that came with the helmet, the big power armor helmet and stuff. So he shelled out hundreds of quid for that, and then played it for about an hour.
Just a quick side note on pre-orders. Why are you pre-ordering digital games?
No.
Oh, then it wasn't.
No, that was a physical copy.
That's when I was old, yeah, and it was making sure we got the shiniest version. Now
I just don't get why people pre-order digital games.
No.
It's the weirdest concept. Oh, they're going to run out of cloud.
I'll tell you what it was. I'll tell you what it was originally. What I used to like about pre-ordering digital games was when I was really excited to pre-download it and play it at midnight, whenever the release time was.
That's fine. That much I can understand.
But yeah, if I was guaranteed to know I was going to A, like the game, or B, the game was going to be good, which nowadays is not a guarantee. It used to be a lot more.
Well, No Man's Sky taught me a very important lesson. Let's just put it that way.
Cyberpunk for me was the nail in the coffin.
Oh no Man's Sky. Well, yeah, Cyberpunk was I will never do this again. Well, I didn't.
So you learned the lesson a lot quicker than I did.
No Man's Sky. As soon as the visuals and everything else, this game looks fantastic, look at all this, and then pre-ordered it, super excited to boot up day one, and was like, what the fuck am I playing? Now is a phenomenal game.
Yeah, same can be said for Cyberpunk.
No, Cyberpunk is still shit.
They've done a lot with it.
I don't like CD Projekt Red, so.
Do you not like The Witcher then?
Nope.
Oh, controversial.
One of the worst combat systems I've ever seen in a video.
You're going to get stabbed in the comments.
I'm sure I am, but I'm allowed my opinions. Everyone else is wrong.
Are you?
I am right.
Yeah. You're allowed your opinion. You're wrong, but you're allowed it.
Paladin Jace. Holy righteousness. But yeah, no, Fallout 76 was not my cup of tea. We got it based off it was back when E3 was a thing.
Oh, I remember the original trailer for it.
Todd Howard
Fantastic.
came out in his blue jeans and his leather jacket, his shiny shoes, and said, "Look, this is a multiplayer Fallout game." And me and my wife absolutely love the franchise. We both separately, before we met each other, played loads of it. She didn't quite go back to Fallout 1 and 2, but Fallout, the Bethesda era stuff, she was really into. So when we heard that we could go for a Wasteland together, we were like, I'm in. Do you know what I mean? You sold me, I'm in. And then it never quite materialised like that and stuff.
And even now, I've played it recently with my kids, and even now, yes, the world's populated with some NPCs, which really should have been the case from the get-go.
Oh, yeah.
And, there is a kind of a storyline that you follow, which is basically just to get you from early levels to end game-ish, but it's still not what it was advertised. It's okay, but just play Fallout 4.
Yeah.
It's better.
There's a reason why that's the one that everyone's gravitated towards since this TV show came out.
But it's clearly what the TV show is based on, the majority. I know they've got the other bits
they
in.
referenced all of the games.
Absolutely.
But I do think the
in terms of the...
And of course you've not finished it yet, so there's more coming.
Oh yeah.
It is, as in no spoilers of course, but like there is more coming, and they leave it at the very end with a very big sort of season 2 is going to be fantastic. Or if it's in the same sort of vein, it's excitement for season 2, which we'll probably get in like a couple of years' time. It's the tend to do these things. Invincible has been...
No, I waited a long time.
God, you waited a long time for finishing Invincible, but it's as a franchise, I liked it because it was different to anything I'd experienced before. I liked my role-playing games. I started playing things like Morrowind and
the Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, Monkey Island, stuff like that. Like these sort of role-playing games, and then to have like a post-apocalyptic, gritty sort of setting. I was like, oh, this is quite cool, isn't it? And I like the whole retro-futuristic thing of the 50s. It's sort of time capsuled into it, and the whole vault systems.
Funnily enough, that's actually what sold Fallout to me right from the early days, because I played 1 and 2 as well. I didn't have a computer myself. Sob story, poor family, blah blah blah. But my friend did, so I used to go over and play like Command & Conquer's, Red Alert, all those really cool. Fantastic game. Not Tiberian Sun, that was shocking.
If it's not got Tim Curry in it.
Exactly.
Spice!
So good. But he had Fallout 1 and 2, and I loved it because it was kind of like, it was like playing a board game, and I was quite young. It was like, I'm kind of playing a board game. I'm moving around the world in this tile kind of sort of formation. I suppose nowadays it'd be called an isometric game, wouldn't it? I don't know if it was called that back then.
It's
not true.
CRPG, really, isn't it?
CRPG.
It's a computer RPG. So.
And it was great. And what sold it to me was the environment. That whole idea of the world has died and you're just trying to survive in it. I really like that. I think that's probably where a lot of my grim, dark aesthetic that I enjoy comes from, not just Warhammer and other things, but probably a lot of that, because that's kind of some of my earliest memories of the idea of a dead world.
Yeah.
And that post-apocalyptic setting. But the futurism, that kind of retro-futurism, not so much the Alien style, but that kind of 50s, 60s nuclear kind of fashion.
Americana.
So cool.
White picket fences.
So cool.
Sort of stuff.
And the idea of what that would look like if that culture had never developed into anything else and had stayed at that level, it's fantastic. And the games do a phenomenal job of portraying that. And I personally feel that the one episode of the show that I've seen also did that very, very well. Really sold that vibe of the old school like flash camera in the birthday party and stuff. I was like, that's really cool. They've got all this futuristic stuff. They've got a Mr. Handy bobbing around in the background, but he's got a camera that he holds down by his stomach that gives off that almost like gunpowder phosphorant flash. So that's really cool.
They're going to need to change the bulb in a minute because it's
so good. It's like some things are done for convenience and some things are done because culture demands that we keep it the way it's always been.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. And I think Fallout did an amazing job of selling that to the audience. But not quite like the games did. Like, we talked about visual storytelling. It's that whole idea that Fallout does something so special, which is you walk into a vault, for instance, and you're in that vault for, I don't know, maybe an hour of game time, depending on how difficult stuff is in there. But the entire time you're trying to piece together what the hell happened in this place. Why is it in such a state? And it's all visually. You can hack into the terminals and you can pick up little pieces, but a lot of it is visual. Like you'll walk into a room, there's a bunch of skeletons. up against the door. Like, okay, were they trying to get out? Did something happen in the vault that caused them to try and flee? And Fallout's always done really well. It's like the plunger killer thing. That place in, I think it's Fallout 4.
Which game are we talking about?
I think it's Fallout 4, and there's a cave or a hole somewhere, and everything in there is mannequins like being killed with plungers or something like that. And it's just like, well, this is like a serial killer hideout, but it's all very visual. There's no notes.
They're very clever with that.
It's just what you see.
Bethesda have done really well with that sort of visual storytelling style of it, and the whole sort of skeleton placement and things like that. And they did it a bit more with their other projects as well, things like Skyrim and stuff like that. You know, but Fallout was the real kicker for that sort of thing.
There's so much to tell though, isn't there? And every little place had something. And I think Fallout did open world slightly better, I personally feel, than Skyrim. Now, a lot of people will argue with me on this, and I appreciate that there's different reasons for that, but no matter how many times I walked across the fields of Skyrim, it just felt empty. Oh, there's another tree. Oh, there's, you know, a dragon flying over in the distance. Don't get me wrong, that's all very cool, but it felt quite empty, whereas I think Fallout did the idea of, I don't know what I'm going to walk into. I don't know what's going to be down that cave. It's not going to be another Draugr ruin. There's something.
Yeah, Skyrim had that vibe of where the Draugr.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
There they are.
Whereas Fallout, it's genuinely like, what's this little seaside cave thing? It's Fallout 3, I actually think, did some of this a bit better. You'd walk into some bits and you'd be like, what the hell is going on in here? And it's really cool. And then there'd be like a door that you need a lock-picking level that's 20 million times level than you currently got. And you make a mental note of, right, I'm coming back here later. And then,
Did you?
No. I completely forgot.
There's a million and one things to find, isn't there? So,
No, but it's fascinating because now it's like it's that's just it. It's remembering if it's that big that all of a sudden that doesn't matter, but it does matter because it could be cool, but doesn't matter. And I very much the 40s and 50s aesthetic, regardless of Fallout, has always been my vibe. Where it's Chinatown, whether it's LA Noir, that kind of vibe I like. So you put a twist on it. That's why you twist something that's normal, and it's my vibe. So twisting the 60s or the 50s with either Bioshock, which is another world I love, or the Fallout world I love. It's just, this shouldn't, why they've all gone mental. Okay. And it just, the picket fences, everyone's slightly happy. Like the Stephen Wise, has that Stephen Wise vibe about it, where it's like, this isn't normal, and you're okay with this? You think this is okay? Which again, the show did get right.
Oh, definitely. Everyone's in pinafores. You know, all the boys are in cotton slacks and
it was like
shirts.
the vibe of the tone, and it's very much the naivety of you as a player who hasn't been out there. Which again, they caught the show, but as playing Fallout 4, where you are going in, not really understanding what's going on in this world. I know it's players, but you know the universe. But I also like the fact that this universe is a universe we recognise in the sense of it is America. And regardless of what game you play, you're in a different part of America, or a different, but they're all kind of simultaneously or near each other or whatever else. That it's actually, okay, I recognise this part of town, or it's the new version of this city that I've visited or seen, and that makes it realer. Bad English.
Well, it's recognisable. It's a point of reference, right? You see something and you're like, oh, it's California. I recognise landmarks in California. I recognise what they're selling here. I can put my brain, I can put my body in that world. I can understand. And sometimes that's the hard part of that real hard sci-fi fantasy settings or hard.
It's so alien. How do you
put yourself in this
40K
environment?
is really
you experience that differently though, don't you? Because it's a different, both the fun, being able to try and imagine what it's like in this universe, because it's so alien, not as in the franchise, but as in just the noun. It's so alien to what you do, but it brings a different environment. Okay, so this is something I recognise.
It's why.
And also, how are you expecting that person to react is not how they then react.
Exactly, but it's also why certain styles of horror are way more effective than others. You take, in my personal opinion, you take Silent Hill. What makes Silent Hill so damn creepy is it's the perfectly ordinary monstrously transformed into the complete unordinary, but you can still see what it's supposed to be. That creates a different kind of fear, because you can see that and go, oh god, that's a baby.
Yeah.
But
Not anymore, it's not.
Why Dead Space works so well.
Either in a concept or in literally showing something. My favourite horror is to be disturbed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I don't care. I do not care about cattle prod cinema. No, it's just quite bang. That just bores me to tears. But if you show me something or you imply something that's twisted and fucked up, and it chills me, it literally makes me go, oh, no thank you. Which is why I liked Bioshock when I fell in love with it. It's why I like the Fallout twisted nastiness of Fallout. I want to be, which is an odd thing to say in the household I grew up at, but I want to be disturbed. I looked at my top 10 films of all time, be another podcast we do, and coincidentally, and it wasn't by choice, they're all horror films. And I wasn't expecting that at all. Or horror-ish films.
They're all unsettling, all of mine are.
Yeah, I want to be unsettled.
Yeah,
I don't care about blood and gore. I want you to chill me and good. And so when you see something that's normal, appears at first normal, and then you know it's not, and the tension ratchets.
Oh, it's the subversion, isn't it? It's that it's supposed to look like this, but it doesn't. I mean, I think that's in Fallout. The ghouls are a great example of that.
Oh, fantastic!
Like, that's a brilliant bit of lore with them, and even the super mutants. When you realise that they are human, or at least they were once. Like,
So yeah, and it's something I'm really looking forward to eventually when they get round to it in the television show and things like that. Obviously, that's not a spoiler, but when they eventually get round to
allegedly,
when they eventually get round to doing Super Mutants,
had to drop it in somewhere.
Will be really quite exciting, I think, if they do it in the way that they've done everything else they've done so far. It's been. Really, and going back to your point about being able to envision yourself in these places, there was a tweet I saw or a Reddit post I saw when Spider-Man came out, and the video game Spider-Man came out, and it kind of resonated with what you were saying. Is that it was someone who'd taken a photo outside their window in New York of a building that Spider-Man on their TV screen was swinging off of.
That's cool.
And it's like, this is where I live. This is, things like that. So the people who live in Washington, D.C. for Fallout 3, Las Vegas is obviously slightly different in New Vegas. Of course it is, because it's nowhere near as built up and stuff. But Fallout 4 was set in, help me out here, I forget 76 is Virginia. Yeah. Fallout 4 is...
Oh, God.
It's going to draw me a blank.
Well, that's a bit embarrassing. Whole episode about Fallout, and none of us can remember what part of...
Commonwealth. It's called the Commonwealth, but it's...
Keep going.
Boston? Is it Boston? Lamplighters? The Freedom Train, the railroad?
Simps, Rail Jacks.
City.
Well,
here we
go. Terrible.
Embarrassing.
Pre-war New England.
New England, so...
Where's that?
New England is sort of...
outside Old England.
Thank you, Adam.
It's very true.
Boston, yeah, it is. It's set around Boston, which is the east coast.
Yeah. South from New York.
I don't know, my American geography.
Which is why it's interesting when we were watching the show, me and my son, he went, this isn't... The setting is not why, because he recognised it. Ironically, he recognised California from playing GTA so much.
I mean...
and it was just like, okay, so therefore he knew before they went, this is Hollywood, and they told us it was proper, actually the buildings and stuff like that anyway, but it's Fallout 4's east. Because then I got really confused, because I'm stupid, it's when they visit Philly.
Yeah, so I thought Philadelphia.
And I thought Philadelphia. And they don't mean Philly, it's just a town they're called Philly. And they just happened to call it Philly. And I thought Boston, Philadelphia, East Coast. No. So
West
yes,
Coast,
Boston, Fallout 4, continue. That's a ramble. We can cut
No, absolutely.
Leave it in.
And that helps people who live in those settings and those places be able to visualise where it is. And I know and this isn't a spoiler, but I know for a fact that they've been greenlit for Series 2 of the television show because California has given them like $25 million in tax cuts in order to film there for season 2, because obviously it's been so popular.
The article I read this morning was it's second only to, or now beaten in terms of stats for Amazon, the Rings of Power show.
Yeah.
Do not.
No, whether you like that or not, I mean, they were stupid to greenlit 5 seasons before they even aired any of them.
Yeah.
And it didn't do anything for me.
I massively bounced off Rings of Power.
I watched 2 episodes, but the fact that it's
half of one.
But if you look at Fallout as a franchise, it's got a smaller audience than Lord of the Rings and Tolkien, clearly. But the fact it's done this well already, and you're saying about the stats of how many percent.
Yeah, no, it's gangbusters. I mean, when I go on Facebook and stuff like that, obviously I'm in that sort of geeky sphere anyway. I get a lot of video game stuff, Warhammer stuff, and that sort of thing.
The news sphere, one would say.
Well, indeed.
Careful, we're heading near pretentious Adam stage. Just say.
I didn't say news sphere. But a lot more of it is now like Fallout merch and Fallout facts and where to start if you're trying to get into the series and things like that. So it's clearly like a lot of people it's been pushed to the forefront of
which is great because it gets more people into the game.
Absolutely.
And it's a great world to be a part of.
There's a lot in it. There's a lot there. And going back, I mean, I bought for like £3-4 on Steam Fallout 1 and 2 like the other day and rebooted it up and did the first couple hours, died, and then realised it's so old the game doesn't have an autosave, so I had to restart again. So I was like, I'll come back to that.
We've been spoiled!
Yeah, indeed.
That speaks volumes, doesn't it?
But,
well, to be fair, some modern games do it just to remind you. Like Subnautica is a classic. Like,
there's no autosave.
No autosave in Subnautica. Oof. Yeah. You find that out the hard way. That much I can assure you.
Yeah.
So okay, right. We've named all of them now, pretty much. So, favourite Fallout. Oh, the face! Now, the audience, if you are listening, will have a favourite, and I think I know what it will be, but let's see if it's the same as yours.
Well, the majority of people tend to say that New Vegas.
Yes, exactly. New Vegas is supposedly the best
game. I think my favourite one though was the reinvention, the reimagining of it. So Free was great. I really enjoyed it, and I can still remember key moments from number 3 that I would have forgotten in other ones. So Megaton,
the Ghoul coming back at the end,
is he Forks, the giant super mutant that you hang out with, the robot dog brain. Is that in New Vegas?
No.
New Vegas, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry,
The human brain inside the dog, things like that. And there's a bit in Fallout 3 which really sticks with me, and it's where you go into like a simulation and you get transported back to actual pre-war
white picket fences and all the
50s,
kids.
you know how Fallout 4 starts, you know, with the whole when the alarms go off.
Because you don't see any of that in Fallout 3.
But you go back to this simulation that this person's like living in. So really like that. One thing I don't think they're going to do in the TV show, we'll go back to the favourites in just a second, but it's just popped into my head, is the whole Chinese military stuff. I don't think they'll do that in a television show.
Possibly
Stealth
not.
suits and Chinese military swords and stuff, because it was all like the war itself.
Not if Jeff Bezos wants to keep selling products in China.
Exactly. But yeah.
They don't even name the antagonist today.
It's so far gone, as far as I'm aware, that it's just kind of it's happened. It doesn't.
Yeah,
matter.
but they don't even the opening scenes. They don't even. They don't name who they're at war with today. No, that leads me to believe that they will not include the overtly Chinese agents.
It was World War III, wasn't it? So it was like Russia and China against America and blah 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 blah. And I think it's an escalation because it's set in the 50s, so Cold War era.
Yeah, it is supposed to be based around that. Yeah.
Escalation of that and stuff. But yeah, 3's my favourite. What about you guys?
Oh, 3. So, 3 I think is the one that got me the most excited. But 3 is also the first time I looked at a game studio, even as a younger lad, and went, how dare you release a game so broken? How dare you release a game this buggy? And
okay, by young lad, how old were you? Were you big
Fallout 3?
Jace?
I was in my teens. I was in my mid to late teens when Fallout 3 came out.
And was your reaction, how dare you, or was it angry, sweary teenager?
No, it was. How dare you?
How dare you? Pretentious Jace. There we go.
How dare you release a video game that doesn't fucking work? It soft locked itself. I had 3 runs of that game that I couldn't complete because your dad wouldn't appear at the end to talk to you.
Oh.
It quest locked me 3 times, and I know that happened to multiple people playing the game. All of my friends were playing it on our 360s.
Yeah.
And that happens so often that I actually hate Fallout 3. Now, it's beautiful. The world, what they did, the reimagining, and then
Is that an emotional response, though, to that problem rather than the game?
100%.
If the game, outside of that experience, when you got to a point where it was fucking up for you, were you enjoying it until that point?
Absolutely.
So
Loved every second of it.
Can you separate the two?
No.
Okay.
It's such an emotional response to hearing Fallout 3 that I physically cannot think ever anything other than, oh my God, 40 hours just wasted.
See, I had that response, and this is a slight sidebar. It's fascinating because I had that response to the first Bioshock game because I ran through it, and it gets to right at the end, and it says to you, "You're not going to think about what you got in your." It actually says to you, "Think about what you got in your stock because you're never going to go back and be able to resupply." And I went, "Yeah, I'm fine." And to this day, I've never did that fight fast. Whereas Bioshock 2, I completed properly, so they're both glorious. But I have an emotional response to every time I play that game. It's like, and I'm slightly on edge because I
objectively, Bioshock 1 is far superior to Bioshock 2.
Oh, hot topic. We'll get back to that in a minute.
Yeah,
because that's not a simple answer. But yeah, no. So Fallout 3 is the one that I should be saying is my favourite because after only really dabbling in Fallout 1 and 2, and I never played. Is it Tactics?
Tactics.
I never played Tactics.
Oh, Brotherhood of Steel.
I heard Brotherhood of Steel, but I never played it. And so Fallout 3 should be the one that's like, that was my main sort of entrance into the Fallout world after seeing the other ones when I was a much younger kid. But the experiences I had of having to restart the game 4 times and seeing the same
cursing Liam Neeson.
Yeah, fucking Liam Neeson.
I don't want to crawl to you again, Liam Neeson. See, that was one of the things I really liked about it.
And
the whole tutorial as a baby, and you were learning to walk by crawling and things like that. Clever. Very
I think the trauma response genuinely is because by the time you're at your 3rd run through, you're not paying attention to anything anymore. You're like,
you just want to get back.
I just want to get back to where I was. So I'm skipping, and I found shortcuts, and I found ways to break the fucking game because, oh my god, you can just do that? Oh, yeah, I'm not bothering with any of that.
There's having a second playthrough by choice to see a different experience, like Baldur's Gate, where you're running it a different way, and then I have to get to there. I've just got to run the gauntlet of getting from point A to point B to point C to get that gun I want. Yeah.
So for that reason, I'm going to take the choice that a lot of people wouldn't take, and I'm going to say Fallout 4. Ooh. And the reason is because it was more polished. There was still some
bugs. It's a Bethesda game. I mean, to this day.
I haven't bought a Bethesda game since Fallout 4, by the way.
On Grump standards.
Just won't touch them. I'm just fed up of them releasing subpar video games, but that's a different topic.
Yeah. But I mean, Starfield is exactly the same sort of thing, the amount of bugs and stuff.
Oh, I knew Starfield was going to be shit before it came out. I didn't even go.
They're giving it for free.
I didn't even go near it. No, screw that. But Fallout 4, because A, it was a bit more polished, B, fucking excellent advertising campaign for it. Well done. Yeah, Man and his dog couldn't sell a game to me more. And C, they actually made Power Armor feel like Power Armor. Being a big 40k fan, I want my own Space Marine suit, chuck me in that. And then very clever, give it to you at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Let you taste it. You haven't got anything else to stock it up on again for a while, but let you taste the power.
Oh, and you can upgrade it, individual parts, you can upgrade individual bits of it, and you have it the whole time. Oh yeah, no, they did that very well.
Actual story for Fallout 4? Dog shit. Actual...
Yeah, I can give a monkey's background.
Side quests?
But that's not what you played it for, you know, you didn't play it for that, you played it to experience the Wasteland and go and explore stuff and things like that.
So for that reason, I will say Fallout 4. I know that's a controversial choice, but...
I think unless you pick, New Vegas, then any choice you pick is going to be potentially controversial.
New Vegas got best story, arguably the best Wasteland to play in, but mechanically, and because of the trauma response from Fallout 3, which led on to New Vegas as well, because it's essentially the same engine.
Yeah. Different publisher though, different.
Yes.
Yeah. So
mine for me, I had I bought, I say a new console. It was a 360 at the time, second hand off some kid at my church back in the day, and so I owned this console, and I remember specifically it was New Year's Eve. I picked it up. I was going to a New Year's Eve party that night around our friend Kez from this parish, as is now an expression, and we were going to his house over in Havant, and we were going to Tesco on the way to buy booze and whatever else on the way, literally. And he said, go to the aisle. That's back in the day when Tesco used to sell video games that Matt had all, they used to sell. I know they still do now, but it's back when they used to sell Blu-rays and all that kind of stuff. And he said, go and look. And I was desperate to pick up Red Dead at the time, and they didn't have it. And what he said to me before, he said, if they don't have it, whatever you do, don't buy New Vegas. It's like, okay, so what did I do? I bought New Vegas. And the only reason
why
the reason he said that to me is because as a new gamer, I've been playing video games since I was 5. So I'm not a new gamer, but in terms of that, I never played a computer RPG before. So he just knew I wouldn't get it until I sat down and said, don't buy that as your first Xbox game. Buy something that's a little bit more on the rails, a little bit shootery, a little bit whatever, and then come back to it later. He said, you'll love it, but let me talk you through it so I understand. And I was so excitable, and it's on the shelf. I picked it up, put it in the machine, I took it to his house because we went straight from Tesco to the party, came home, and he went, "What did you do that for? You've not listened." But okay, off you go. And it was like, okay. And I took it home after, and I was like, yeah, he's right, I don't get it. So I kind of dipped my toe in New Vegas, genuinely didn't understand it, sidled away to Skyrim, understood it, came to Fallout 4, and went, okay, yeah, I get it. That was the order of the release, wasn't it? It was the order of the release.
Yeah,
I'm not wrong. Having an old man moment. And so by the time I got to Fallout 4, I got what they were trying to do. It was that game with a different skin. So I understood in my brain, because at that point I wasn't playing D&D, I wasn't doing any RPGs. It was just so from a video game perspective, I've only dipped my toe in other games that weren't 4, and I do like 4. However, to be slightly comedy and have a different answer that isn't, my favourite Fallout game is the board game.
Ooh. Oh yeah,
which is upstairs.
Supposedly very good.
And the reason it's very good, it's only cost like 70 quid. Which
for a board game, I say I own the Darkest Dungeon board game, which is like 300 quid.
There you go. But I looked the other day to see how much it was, and I bought it like 5 years ago for my birthday. My old man always sends me birthday money. I don't know what to get you, son. Treat yourself. So I did. And the reason it works is because, and you may say this is superfluous, but it's the video game on the table.
Yes.
So you get your little Pip-Boy and you get your little specials upgrading, and they've narrowed it down to being special. They're the only letters you can upgrade because they've got to hone it in. But you've got your missions and you've got your side quests and you've got your this and you've got to complete that before you can complete this. And it is. And once I start, and you can, ironically, the other good thing about it is you can play it on your own.
Oh, okay.
So you don't have to. You can play it as 4, but you don't have to. So you can sit and have the experience, and you're drawing cards to figure out when the raiders come on and everyone moves in on you and stuff.
You can be that sad, depressive loner.
You could be the loner.
Have fun.
You could be the guy who sits and plays with himself in his kitchen.
But actually, it was the closest. It was absolutely replicating what it was trying to be, and I thought, well done, because before I got into RPGs, I was playing a lot of board games. My shelf upstairs is stuff with them. We barely played them now compared to when we did. We used to have a fortnightly board game night with some friends, and so we'd rotate the game. So I've probably got 30, 40 games, 50 games upstairs, and that was one that it got the tone, it got the vibe. Yeah, your rads go up, your health goes down, etc, 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 your little pips, and it's all nice and chunky and the pieces are nice. It's what you want from a physical game.
Yeah, sounds cool. I've always wanted to try it.
Oh yeah, you want to crack that out one Monday night?
Yeah,
and I'm sure we're all
happy to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will relearn how to play. It's one of those ones where you kind of, the first playthrough, it's the kind of game that goes,
play the easy thing first.
Yeah,
because
so
it's such a faff, and what stage have I missed? And it's deadly.
Yeah. The other one is there's a Fallout RPG, isn't there?
There is.
Yeah, I really want to play that.
Yeah, I was interested in that, and I was warded off of it when I picked up the Alien RPG, the Free League one, which we're obviously looking to start a campaign of soon, which will be exciting.
Oh, space trucking across the universe.
The fella at the vendor, we picked up that and Fallout, and I held up both rule books to him and was like, which one do you reckon is better? And he was like, Alien, without a doubt. So I kind of shelved Fallout, but it's always sat in the back of my head as it's...
Well, I've had a look since, and because I was, after the show, it's like I was inspired, I knew it was out there. It's the same system, it's Modiphius, so it's the same system as Star Trek. So you roll 2 D20s, and you're trying to get under your stat like you do with Cthulhu.
Oh, okay.
So if you've got, I don't know, if your health, it's what's the equivalent, strength and constitution, whatever they add up, whatever 2 stats, you've got your 4 core stats and then your attributes. So you add those up. Say if one's 4 and one's 5, you roll a 9. You've got to roll 2 D20s and get under 9.
Right. Cool. The game has swung against you then.
Yeah. Well, and that's the same. That's the same with Star Trek. That's the same with Conan the Barbarian. That's the mechanic.
Okay. Interesting.
Which is one I'd be interested to play because it's similar to Cthulhu, but not.
Yeah, and we've not played a system like that before.
Symbaroum's under the number 2.
Yeah, but it's not 2 D20 system.
No, it's not. It's just a D20 system.
Exactly.
But I think playing in that universe would be, if it's proper sandbox. Admittedly, the sand is irradiated sand. But if it's proper sandbox and you can play as a Mr. Handy, which I think is a stereotype.
That's cool. That's very cool. Okay.
And you can play. Obviously, you bring your parties together like you could do the cliche of what the show has done. But obviously and I said this on the walk this morning. We took our dogs out. Is The other thing sidebar about the show is they never get more than 2 people doing things together.
It's very
like the game. Whereas the RPG, you can pull a party together.
Well, I mean, funnily enough, yeah, the companion system was amazing. Some of the things that Fallout kind of not necessarily pioneered, but did really, really well, and I think Fallout 4 did it a little bit better. Is that whole idea of your actions affect your companion. Like, I love the fact you'd be doing something and it would be like, Dogmeat didn't like that. But actually, if I recall, Dogmeat didn't really care whatever you did.
Dogmeat was really easy going, mate. Yeah.
It was more like, oh yeah,
Piper or
Paladin Dance did not enjoy that.
Yeah, Paladin Dance or Nick Valentine or
that's the one, the synth, yeah, Nick Valentine.
Oh,
did not approve of that discussion.
Gumshoe, yeah.
That was cool. All right, so let's Fallout.
Oh, talking of it, there's one more thing I wanted to mention about sort of fringe media for Fallout and stuff, and it's popped up recently. There's a miniature game as well. There's a paint your Warhammers.
Yes, there is
miniature game, and the reason I know this existed because in part of the Orc subreddit,
there is
people turning super mutants into boys, which I think is really quite cool.
I mean, they're very fitting, but they basically are orcs.
Yeah, so I didn't know, I wasn't aware that there was a miniature game.
I wonder how that plays.
Oh yeah, exactly. But I have no more information on it other than that you can get super mutants.
Well, that's your homework between now and next week.
Have a look at it.
Allegedly, there's a miniatures game, so we need a feature now. The new feature started with allegedly. Okay, so we're going to have it, and there will be sound bites that will have put over this. So this week's allegedly is the Fallout 4.
If we're setting homework then, and I've got homework for you, you can check out the RPG, and you can finish watching the show.
Yeah, all right. I'm sorry, my other half has been in Birmingham for a week, and I don't want to watch it without her. So, and I've been very busy. But yes, I will finish.
I will look at the RPG.
Excellent.
And actually, I've already looked. I've looked at how much it is and stuff. But it's not like silly money either. It's normal price, which is good because they're not. And in fact, the free words. This is my thinking fingers. The how-to and the starter. The starter set's only £20.
Nice.
The free how to play is free on their print.
It's all in the word free, Adam.
There you go.
Okay, right. So obviously, Fallout as a system, as a world, is post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
So on that thread, what other things do you think, or even potentially did it better than Fallout or worse than Fallout? What other post-apocalyptic settings? Doesn't just have to be video games; it can be anything. You think are kind of as good, better, worse?
There's a lot of different flavours, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
I mean, you can have. We were talking about this on the dog walk. I mean, technically, you could call things like 40k as a post-apocalyptic thing, but I think it's more what grounds it is it's our world.
Well, that's what I mean. Dead Earth. All right, let's rein that in then. So, what are the Dead Earth formats?
Dead Earth. I liked Last of Us, that universe, because it was.
But that's zombies. And that is a very different. But they are. Let's not beat around the bush. They are zombies.
It's an apocalypse, though.
Yes, it is. But then, are we gonna roll every zombie video game and media into it?
No. So apocalypse. So define apocalypse.
Well,
what caused the apocalypse to narrow it down?
So let's just avoid zombies because that's such a big subject in itself. So let's avoid zombies. Think things like, so my brain instantly goes to Mad Max.
Yeah.
It's instantly where my brain goes. Anything Mad Max related.
Okay.
The wonderful post-apocalyptic setting.
Or the better version, Waterworld, starring Kevin Costner.
Oh, again, post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, exactly.
The world flooded.
It's just wet Mad Max.
To be fair, I really like
I unironically really enjoyed Waterworld.
Dennis Hopper at his finest.
So good. So overacted.
Kevin Costner with gills. I mean, what more could you want?
Yeah. I live in a. I come from an island where we supposedly have gills.
Well, you do. That's why you grow the beard and have the long hair to hide.
That's why you got long hair to hide.
But the other thing that made sidebar, Waterworld was clearly interesting in terms of popularity and awards and how much it cost and how much it made. But it was good enough that they turned it into a show at one of the theme parks over in the States.
Yes,
did they?
They did.
Oh yeah, and they had the plane flying in, and they had the boat in this massive pool.
No,
one of their stunt shows.
Panned by critics and fans and stuff. It was one of those joke movies that people didn't really take seriously.
I remember when I sort of remember it coming out. I was old enough, but I wasn't old enough to pay attention to cinema and stuff like that. I would have been quite young.
That was such a pretentious Jace thing to say. I wasn't old enough to pay attention to cinema.
But I've never watched that film and gone, that's horseshit.
Yeah.
Like, there's
but it
something
is.
shiny and exciting every time I watch it.
Okay.
Like, genuinely.
No, genuinely, you're allowed your opinion. It's wrong, but you're allowed it. That's what we said before we recorded.
We so rarely differ. Oh, it's the point of contention.
No, it's fine. I mean, I haven't watched it since it came out. I've seen it twice in my life. When did it come out? In the 90s?
This was. I'm sorry, I derailed us. This wasn't the conversation. We're talking about Waterworld as a.
No, but that's an entire episode on Waterworld.
Oh,
Alright, okay, so, rein it in then. Has anyone seen the new, talking of post-apocalyptic, has anyone seen the trailer for the new Mad Max?
Yes.
Furiosa, yeah.
What do you think? I thought I was watching a parody of Mad Max. It was the dude with the beard shouting up.
But you gotta remember-
didn't look like
no.
he belonged in a Mad Max.
It's
It was-
not Mad Max. It's,
No, I know.
It's set in that
It's
same
saying that
world.
universe.
It's not even in the movie.
My problem with that and the entire trailer is like Chris Hemsworth, Thor, whoever he is,
Yeah,
is just
he just doesn't look right.
hamming it up.
Yeah.
And it's like
That's
your
why
camp
I
Thor.
thought. That's why I thought I was watching.
And
a
the
parody.
problem is because he's been Thor in a similar costume, and he's similarly built. He's got the stupid shaggy beard. Like he's a slimmed down version of chubby Thor from and his casting. Her casting is great.
Yes.
His casting might be a problem for me.
Yeah.
Those two, the first film, felt as. The problem is because I haven't seen the others in such a long time. The original.
Fury Road is fantastic.
Fury Road, I have a conversation again, Kevin Disparage, who his issue with it is it's colour corrected beyond his life because he makes films. So he can see the colour correction. But he said he watches it in black and white, the Chrome version, and he still doesn't quite like it, which is fascinating because he thought it was the colour correction was the issue. So I need to have the conversation
find
with him
it very-
again.
I mean-
I really enjoy it. I do. But again, I haven't seen it forever. And I'm comparing it to the originals, which I've not seen in a long time. It's a good vibe. I like the vibe. It's clearly Yorkie vibe that they were going for
I love
40k.
it. Yeah, I know. I absolutely love it. But I find it. Let's just go real quick there. I find it very strange to not like a film based on a technical element of it, and it's because
It's
I'm
distracting.
I'm not a filmographer. I'm not. I have no background in that sort of stuff. I watch things for story and characters and blah 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 blah. But to not like a film because it's over color corrected seems absolutely.
It's not that it's
wild to
over
me.
colour corrected. You can see they've done it. It's like watching how a sausage is made.
Is it the Mexico effect of that? Like, oh, we're filming in Mexico, so everything's yellow.
Maybe
That like yellow filter over the top.
it's almost when I used to colour correct stuff, it was within an inch of his life. So you're checking skin colour, you're checking this colour, and it depends on the detail. I had this issue jumping previously to Fallout. My issue with the show to date, particularly the first episode, was the armour felt too light. It
yeah,
felt
bad
floaty.
CGI. Absolutely.
And it wasn't that bad CGI armour because it's physically there, it just felt like it was there. My issue, and it distracted me enough to not quite enjoy the show as much. Genuinely.
Oh no, that got me too. We had this chat. But
Yeah.
that is the
So
main thing I took
there
away
are
from the
things
first
that
episode.
can pull me out of a show from enjoying it
Yes.
as much.
Oh, if my immersion's ruined, it doesn't matter what the show does after that. I'm out. I did 20 minutes of Rings of Power
'Cause when-
and went.
Because
Fuck
when
that.
in that opening episode where Maximus is being interrogated,
Yeah,
pacing
he's
back and forth,
Brilliant.
all I saw was cardboard armour. And it wasn't cardboard. I
really?
know it's not cardboard,
Okay.
but I didn't see metal armour. I saw
Wow.
prop armour. And that's how I might be wrong, but that's how my brain interprets it. Therefore, it distracted me because I wasn't concentrating on Maximus. I was concentrating on that.
It's funny. I didn't notice it in that scene, but when he jumps into that hover helicopter,
Oh yeah,
thing,
the CG has got better. Like episode 2
That-
onwards, the opening and
I
shutting
could
of the arm,
not see that.
it was ropey, so it can pull me out. Sidebar.
Yeah.
And
No,
absolutely.
it does me too.
But-
it does me too.
Yes, going back to Mad Max. I will look forward to seeing it. I think she's very well cast, and I could do without Hemsworth.
George Miller again, so I'll give it a go.
No, it'd be great.
Yeah.
I'm not a big. Again,
Speed Freaks, Cult of Speed, Race
I
Across
thought,
the Desert.
I thought I was watching a parody because Chris Hemsworth and his hand-up performance in the trailer. Totally agree with you.
What's
Just
fascinating
a
is
bit like, oh,
outside of
God.
Thor, again another sidebar, because who doesn't like to be distracted? Outside of Thor, what have you seen him in?
There's that one where he played a soldier that's supposed to be gritty.
Ghostbusters.
We won't be talking about that. Ghostbusters.
He's the himbo, isn't he, in
what?
Ghostbusters? The
Oh, the
2016 one.
Ghostbusters.
We're not going to talk about that because.
Okay, for those who are
I will
listening only
end up in a-
podcast,
yeah,
Jace is not happy.
We won't be talking about
We've stepped on a line. But my problem is
you've not just towed it.
with him, because he's so thawed, in everyone's mind, it's hard to pull him out and put him in something else.
But this is what happened to.
I haven't seen anything else I particularly enjoyed him in.
This is what happened to Mr. Arpats, and luckily,
He's smashing.
he is married to.
Well, you look at the stuff he did with Cronenberg. He's pulled himself out of that Twilight
Yes,
Zone,
yeah, exactly.
literally.
Well, yes, I when I heard, he's going to be Batman and stuff, I was like, the dude from Twilight, and then went back and watched The Lighthouse, and The Lighthouse is probably in my top 10 films of all
it's
time.
fantastic.
It's absolutely fantastic. And then on the back of that, watched Batman and was like, Batman's incredible, I absolutely love this. Anyway, we have got massively off topic. Favourite other
Right, okay,
post-apocalyptic universes?
It's actually quite difficult, isn't it? Because the everyone's natural go-to is something zombie related.
Yeah, so it's Walking Dead, it's Last of Us, it's War of the Worlds to a degree. Yeah.
Don't talk about that film.
No, not the film. I'm talking about the musical. Jeff
Yeah.
Wayne. That's
Good
the
old
one,
Jeff.
baby.
So good. For me, this is a really. We mentioned it earlier, but I'll be interested to know if anyone agrees with me on whether this is considered post-apocalyptic. Is Horizon.
Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West. Yeah. I've never played it.
More specifically, Zero Dawn, because the spoiler warning. I'm going to give the spoiler warning now,
Spoiler!
and then I'm going to. You are hopefully Super Mutant Adam will be able to.
You can fast forward 30 seconds.
There we go. You can edit in the bit, but spoiler warning to anyone who hasn't played Horizon. Why wouldn't you? It's old now and it's very, very good. But is the idea that actually you discover that the world died a long time ago and is being remade by machines, and all those machines have a purpose to rebuild the world. And humans that survived have grown up not realizing what happened to their predecessors, and essentially the idea being that some very clever woman and a few other people invented self-fighting machines that were winning wars on their own, and they turned on us. So it's very very Terminator. And then they were slowly consuming biomass to fuel themselves and eating the world, removing all life from it. So they did a contingency plan and they built the Zero Dawn thingy, and essentially they knew that everyone was going to die. So instead of trying to save those that were left, we will just have a fail-safe God AI that we've made, Gaia, that once everyone is dead and a set amount of time has passed and those previous machines have decayed and aren't working anymore, then this Gaia will release and repopulate the world with animals, with humans, and with robots that are remaking the world as they go. That is very fucking cool.
It sounds really cool. Neither of us have played Horizon, so like it's
I've watched it.
Yeah, I know the concept. I know robot dinosaurs and
I watched our number one
That's
play.
the story behind it.
and it
it's
sounds
very
awesome.
fucking cool.
Sounds awesome.
Very fucking cool.
But I don't think it's going to change our favourite post-apocalyptic
No, I'm just saying.
things, because it's obviously
I'm just
we've not
interested
played
to
it,
see
so-
if anyone else considers that post-apocalyptic. Because the world you
I would
play
say
in
so.
is verdant and green and lovely, but actually it is post-apocalyptic.
Oh, yeah.
What's the other ones? You've got Rage is a post-apocalyptic thing. I didn't like Rage.
Rage
but
is shit.
it's-
Fallout and Doom mixed together, and
Yeah.
they didn't do it right either way.
What else you've got? I mean, Borderlands.
but it's not
Borderlands
Earth.
different planets,
Yeah,
isn't it? So
Pandora.
and stuff like that. But it gives that same sort of flavour, doesn't it? That Mad Max sort of.
And I'm not,
Raiders
but I liked
stuff.
the vibe, and I said this to you earlier this morning, of the Metro games,
Oh,
in
Metro's
terms of
great.
being in the
Metro's
tunnels
very good.
underground, and that, because that clearly is post-apocalyptic,
Very much
this
so.
real world. But it is hard to find ones that aren't just, if we're narrowing it down to get rid of
Zombies.
zombies, or
And this
get
is
rid of
the
The Last of
problem,
Us 5, or get rid of this,
Yeah.
because that's the go-to. Or the, I Am Legend is vampires instead of zombies, but it's still vampires. It's still
the price one is, yeah.
it is. My brain is failing. If you're listening to this, do let us know what you think.
Yeah, if you guys have got favourite post-apocalyptic stories that aren't zombies, send it our way, because it'd be interesting to see what we've missed and stuff, and things that we would then go, oh yeah, of course it's that.
The Ghostbusters reboot.
The Ghostbusters reboot.
Just,
The
just to see
Ghostbusters
Jason's
reboot.
face and the
This is
apocalypse
our-
happen. There'll be a mushroom cloud above Hampshire.
This is in our last sort of 10 minutes of thing. Let's see how much of an aneurysm we can give Paladin
I could
James.
see him hulking out.
Crumbling. Rings
So-
of power is enough to kill me.
I'll tell you what we haven't done, and your beloved will be so cross with us again, because I wrote it in my notes at the beginning,
Hobby time.
which I'm now going to dub Hobbit Time, because we always fuck it up, so why not fuck up the name as well? Hobbit Time. so people couldn't wonder what did they get up to in the last couple of weeks since recording. I'll go first because I'm not ready. I mean, I kind of am ready. I painted my Paragon War suits.
You did?
Yeah,
In the
they look
promotion
great.
for our last game, which was fun, and I'm going to do some more this weekend because my weekends tomorrow's more empty, so I'm going to sit down and do some more and finish them off, and then I'm deciding whether to face the trauma that is 10 in a row of just sisters, which needs to be done at some point, or even consider looking at Celestine.
Oh,
I know, but if I don't start her, I won't finish her. So
Yeah.
who knows?
And we're probably not helping by going, oh,
No, it's fine.
to be fair, as an actual, like, as a mechanical, not mechanical model, as a visual piece, Celestine's actually quite a simple model to paint. Because there's not actually a huge amount to Saint Celestine, she's just flimsy. However,
As fuck.
having put her together for you.
because there's not a lot of visual gubbins, people will notice the flatter parts of her and the sort of panel
no
lines.
pressure.
And so it's a different technical level required for her. You'll have fun.
What I'm going to do is get a can of green paint and just dip them in. Actually, that'd be amazing if I did that and bought another Celestine just to fuck you over,
Is it
just to
worth-
confuse you.
is
This
it-
is what I've done.
35 quid worth the joke.
That'd be that'd be 35 quid well spent.
Okay.
Ta-da! And
Alrighty.
just horrify you. My other projects, I'm still writing my thingy, which I am, my Hunter the Reckoning.
Yeah.
And also off the back of your Alien campaign, I'm getting my brain ready to offer Deadlands to the world.
Woo!
So we can go riding horses.
Cowboys.
Wow,
And there's no rush in terms of how long you take with yours, but I thought if I learn mine, get mine ready, then after your beloved's Cthulhu,
Yeah.
Regency Cthulhu, where I
Regency
need to write.
Cthulhu.
The other thing, as a small project that I'm doing, which is comically, so we are playing Regency Cthulhu for a couple of sessions, and I'm a poet, so I'm going to write some poetry to bring
Yes!
along. I'm
Love
actually
it.
going to write.
Yeah.
So and some will be serious, some might be haikus, some might be
Limericks.
some might be limericks.
Michael again.
So that's me in a nutshell.
It's a fair amount you got going on.
Yeah.
I mean, the Alien one segues very nicely into my current projects, my current hobby project. Still painting my towel, proving to be.
How does Aliens segue into Tau?
Because they are aliens.
They are technically aliens. No, because I am in the process of writing the Alien story. So getting a vibe for the different syndicates that you guys will interact with, because I don't just want it to be the big three, the Wayland and the United
Marine
Americas.
Corps.
Don't go home without those books.
Yes, thank you. But I also want there to be some actual syndicates that are of my creation, so I get to play with how they operate. So that'll be a big part of what you guys get up to. I'm very excited for that. I am one of my other groups that I play with. I'm playing Simbrum.
You play with other people.
I do.
How dare you?
I'm so sorry. And they have just reached quite a pivotal moment in the campaign structure, and I am very excited to see where that goes, because it will potentially be, when you've done something and you, it might sound quite conceited, but when you've done something and you go, fuck, that was actually really quite cool, and I made that, and it's like, oh, it was one of those moments of it worked exactly how I wanted it to in my head. And the players had the reactions that I wanted them to have, and I was like, oh, it all came together.
Because as a GM, there's a worry sometimes. You can create this thing and hope to get that, but obviously player choice means that might not happen. They might cut it short, or they might divert the track.
that. No, but it worked perfectly, and that was very exciting. And in terms of other hobby projects, I'm not going to mention what I'm doing later this afternoon for legal reasons. Not because it's illegal, by the way.
Oh, organ farming, are we? I see. Hello.
More just,
Turning children into batteries, more like for.
Yeah, it's just.
Stop it.
So I've made you freak out. I've made you freak out.
Going to work on some 3D projects this afternoon. Let's just put it that way.
Nice.
So that leads you to overseer Adam.
Myself, so I, painting wise, I finished last week one of my 3 killer cans.
You did?
I'm quite happy with how he looks, and then I primed and got ready for the second one. Usually we tend to look to play after we've completed recording one of these episodes, but I'm going to play some Warhammer for a bit. You guys are busy, so I'm going to sit tonight and this
Good name, mate.
yeah, and put on an audiobook and crack on with
Cry into your beer.
dry brushing the crap out of a killer can.
Yeah, Adam and I have lives, I'm
Yeah,
afraid.
enjoy that. fucked. Meanwhile, I last night got together with a group of friends who we used to play D&D 5th edition back in lockdown. We were running I Spy Peak. They never finished it, but I floated it out to them a couple of weeks back. Would we be interested in getting together again and doing a new module? And I had resounding success with that. And we did our first session 0 last night. And they built characters, and we picked our module we're going to play.
What are you going to play?
We're going to play Team of Annihilation.
Nice.
Which will be loads of fun.
Fighting dinosaurs.
Yeah, absolutely. I cannot wait. And they've built their characters and they rolled their stats and things like that. So that was lots of fun. So I'm going to be sort of starting to prep for that because we've got our first.
So how often is that going?
It's going to be like once a month. It's going to be really casual, really low key, just over Discord, and we're gonna it'll be a good laugh. It'll be good fun. So our first session is like on the 10th. So it's like give me a bit of time to get reading and get stuff like that.
You're gonna read more than a page before you play it.
Well, I don't know, mate. We'll see. The difference with this one is because it's a sandbox.
Yeah, you
I
need
kind
to
of have
know.
to read
Yeah,
a bit more because it means that if they choose to go in a different direction and I haven't read it, I'm screwed. So
And all Sam and the maps on that, because I ran that. The maps on that are just in this area of the jungle is X.
Yeah.
And so this amount of X, roll for this amount of X. Well, you could just make that shit up on the fly.
Exactly.
But you do therefore need to know your stats, which I know you're a stat boy. That was impressive. So it's like, okay.
So I'll remember. So, but I'm cool. I'm looking for. They were talking about because they're quite like almost comedy D&D. They're not like grimdark or anything like that. They're
It's gonna be like my Wednesday night crew.
Yeah, so they were like, let's play Curse of Strahd, and I was like, yeah, Curse of Strahd's great, but it's also absolutely horrendous and relentless, and everything's miserable and ghostly and stuff. So we're not going to have like one of them's playing, for example, a ranger who is a tiefling himbo from the swamp, speaks Cajun and wants to find like parts of animals to make amazing
I think that's
stew.
Jace's perfect table.
So I was like, yeah, that guy's not going to fit into Barovia and like the misery that is. So we decided to go to Tomb of Annihilation instead, which would be quite a lot of fun. And then my wife is running Regency Cthulhu.
Oh, so exciting!
It's going to be
fun.
lots of fun to play. For those of you who don't know what Regency Cthulhu is, it's an offshoot of the Call of Cthulhu tabletop role-playing game, but it's set in Jane Austen's 1700s England. So Mr. Darcy and such like, and Emma Wentworth and people like that. So it's it's very different flavour to it, but still all the creepiness and the eldritch madness.
and having to introduce each other to each other, the rules and etiquette.
The etiquette, sir.
and fashion stats.
But
and
we're
things
stuffed
like that.
already for
Yeah.
etiquette.
Exactly, which is quite fun because my wife's a big Jane Austen fan, so she's really into this sort of stuff anyway, and she really likes the whole Cthulhu thing. But then obviously a lot of us, I've never read a Jane Austen book.
No,
Have you?
neither have I.
Gentlemen,
I want to
Jane
know.
Austen?
I want to know what the equivalent, genuinely, what's the equivalent of telling someone to fuck off in Jane Austen's universe? What would be such an offensive
Sophie
thing
did
to say?
go through a list of insults, didn't she? Of
Something like
time.
that.
Because in Shakespeare, it's like I bite my thumb at you.
Yeah,
sir,
it's
or whatever.
something
Yeah,
like
we'll post that.
Yeah.
So you know, if
But
you know
yeah,
in
so
the
there are
comments-
versions
Yeah.
where it's like I don't want to make a mistake, but equally, in other games we play, it's jog on or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I'll have a look.
Well, if the people know in the comments, and send it over because that'd be funny.
Cheekiness, yeah.
But yeah, so we're doing that as well, and then I'm still in progress of the grand Call of Cthulhu campaign, which we'll get round to at some point. But as I say, there's a lot coming, which will be fun. So
We're very busy people.
we are busy people, but it's all nice stuff, It's all good fun
Funsies.
things and things. So, and I've ordered my Orc Codex, so I'm very much excited for that to arrive.
It looks so good.
Yeah.
Oh, and an absolute aside, but because we're geeking out, I ordered this morning, nothing to do with anything you particularly be excited by. But bear with me. I ordered some independent comics today, which is called Hendrix. Right?
Okay.
First two issues have come out, and it's imagining what would it be. Hendrix is the sidekick of Brody from Jaws,
Okay, yeah.
and it's imagining what would have happened if he was the main character and he travels from 80s film to 80s film. So crisis happens in Amity, he then goes to Perfection where Tremors was built.
That's very
He
cool.
then goes to Santa Carla, which is where Lost Boys was set.
Cool.
That's
And it's
very cool.
the artwork is beautiful, and he does meet Hooper and he does meet Brody, but he's the main guy, and the guys who created it are British, and they sent a copy. They got a copy to the actor who played him, and the guy,
Dreyfus, Richard Dreyfus?
no, the guy that played him, I forgot what it's called, but he was like, we went to a comic convention and met him and stuff like this, and he's like, So I've ordered them this morning,
What
and the
was
artwork's
our story for?
But he's also
great,
the same. The
how
same guy
weird.
has done. The same guy has done Die Hard of the Dead,
Right.
where
I've heard of Die Hard.
John
Dead.
McClane's become a mall cop because he's been fired, and
Oh,
obviously
and
it
then
all kicks
it's
off. And he's also
Romero
done.
zombie.
They've done Gremlins as well. So you remember the old man from Gremlins who had the war stories?
Yeah.
He's imagining. So it's set in 1944, fighting the Gremlins in World War II.
Saw this guy when I went to Comic-Con a few years ago in Birmingham. I saw this guy because I specifically remember Die Hard of the Dead. I remember him having that in front of him and showing
That's
me.
cool.
It's quite a cool guy.
Yeah.
So I've seen that.
I've got Hendrix on the way because being the Jaws fan, for those who don't know his point, I'll do a thing on this one day. It's my favourite film of all time.
Tattoos and all sorts, aren't you?
I'm covered in it. So that's my other geeky excitement. And that was it. Tag on in the end.
I've
No,
got,
that's really cool.
I've got a great ending.
Go on.
We've lived. We are post-apocalyptic.
Has the apocalypse happened?
We are post-apocalyptic. Did the three of you work through COVID?
Yeah.
Did you work through lockdowns? Did you walk the streets and use the trains
Yeah.
during we have lived a very strange apocalyptic moment in time where I was the only human being on a train station. The only human on a train.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And we were talking about this the other day, where we've all gone back to normal. But you remember the days when there was video footage on Facebook and on Twitter of herds of deer walking through a town?
Yeah.
Because no one
Dolphins
was
in
out.
canals and
So
absolutely.
you're right on that
the River
front.
Thames.
Yeah.
It was, very.
Just thought as a weird little thing to,
So we've all survived the
technically-
fallout, so take
we
shelter.
survived.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure, gentlemen, as always.
Yeah, scurry back into your, Vault-Tec authorised dwellings, and we will see you
Go and paint minis, yes.
next time.
Take shelter quickly before we ramble.
Toodaloo.
Bye.
Lovely. We have technically done post-apocalyptic life. That's been genuine. You think
No, I get it.
The stuff,
I didn't expect you to say that.
the stuff that came from China, the stuff you saw of them welding people in their houses. Like what the fuck?
And that's, ladies and gentlemen, what will fade out on.